Managing IBS is really very individualized. So everybody has their own food triggers. And it's very important that you identify what those triggers are yourself. So not everybody that has IBS has the same triggers. So usually if you work with a dietitian or even your doctor, they would tell you to start keeping a food journal just so you can keep track of what those triggers are. And so you know how to then take them out of your diet. We do end up going on something called a low FODMAP diet. It's a temporary, the key word here is temporary elimination diet, and it restricts certain carbohydrates that are considered to be like fermentable carbohydrates. And they're usually poorly absorbed in the gut, which is what then causes this IBS. It's important when we do go on this low FODMAP diet that we are increasing fiber, specifically soluble fiber that's dissolved in water, and that will help keep our bowel movements regular. We want to add fiber slowly. So we don't want to do it so quickly because we do want to avoid gas and bloating, because that will definitely continue to trigger those IBS symptoms. So we don't want to go full force on fiber. We want to start slow and then continue it in our diet. And then once we have been on that elimination diet for about 3 to 5 weeks, we slowly want to reintroduce foods and potentially those trigger foods as well, because we hope that we can ultimately have them in our diet. And again, if they continue to be a source of problem for us, then we can continue to keep them out. And then one other thing back on staying hydrated is, especially with the fiber, we want to make sure we're staying hydrated, because if we're not having enough water when we have fiber, it's going to go the other way. It's going to back us up, keep us bloated. So when we do have fiber, we do want to make sure we're hydrated, we have enough water to help keep us regular and our bowel movements regular as well.
So today my international recipe is from Pakistan. So I'm going to make rice pulao and a chicken tikka. I'm going to briefly show you how I'm going to make the rice. It's a little different, and we're going to use basmati rice. So I have my oil heating here right now. We're going to put a couple of teaspoons of cumin seeds in there. I never did this rice until early this morning, and I was going to try and do the brown, but I was like, I'm not that brave, so I just kept with the white today. Then we have a cinnamon stick going in there. Right, so while that gets nice and hot, let me just make it nice and hot. We want these to start popping, so we're going to just keep that going for a second. In the meantime, it tells you to soak your rice. So I've soaked my rice like between 20 and 30 minutes. So I just soaked my rice. I've just drained the rice. Finished draining. Put the rice in there. Water to the 2 cups of rice. While that cooks down, I'm actually going to show you how to make the marinade for the chicken. So we have some ginger. So we're going to put another ginger in here. It says actually about 2 teaspoons of ginger. 2 teaspoons of ginger. Then we have some garlic. I usually have this ready, but I forget I do it live. And don't forget to watch your fingers. Remember what we spoke about last week?
Do the claw with that one too. Make sure you're not getting the tips of your fingers in
Exactly. There. Then we have a half a cup of yogurt. So we're going to put some yogurt in there, plain yogurt. You can use Greek. I use just plain. And then we're going to put our seasoning, which is a lot of seasonings, but trust me, it's definitely worth it. Teaspoon of paprika. And then we have some brown turmeric, 2 teaspoons, 2 coriander, 2 salt. You can also use chili powder for heat, but I'm not going to use chili powder because I have little kids that come around. Gram masala.
Garam masala is such an interesting spice. I guess it's a spice mix.
This is the spice that I promise you, it's absolutely delicious. Then we've got some coriander or cilantro. Dried. And then last but not least, a tablespoon of salt. We're going to whisk that up. And this is going to be our marinade. It's best to marinate overnight, to be honest with you, which I did. I marinated my chicken last night. And also I did the chicken in bigger chunks because I actually put it in the air fryer and I just used breast to keep it nice and healthy. That out in the fridge now so you can see. That one's marinated overnight. I've got big chunks of chicken in there. And then what I did, I actually put them in the air fryer and I cooked them for 14 to 15 minutes and I turned them halfway. The temperature for the air fryer was 375. This is my rice, how it comes out. Come out lovely. I was very happy with it. We're going to make a quick sauce for the chicken right now.
One thing I was going to say about those spices you have there is if you cook any amount of like South Asian food, you'll end up using those a bunch.
So it's already got some salt on it. Add 1/2 cup of plain yogurt. You can use Greek again, but I didn't. And then we're going to use a little bit of lemon juice. And as I said, I already salted it. There you go. So there's my mint chutney. Oh, it smells really good.
Very nice.
No,
Okay.
looks good.
It's a really good green.
It is a nice colour green. So I'm going to take you over to my final.
That's beautiful.
I also made Indian salad. They did say that they do add mango sometimes. So you know what? I was like, I'm going to add some mango, but it has fresh mint in it. It's like a lot of red onion and some tomatoes, cucumber, fresh cilantro. And there's my chicken tikka that was done in the air fryer. And the water of the week, I actually did a honeydew melon.
I'm making like a sort of a Greek salad. What I love about Greek salad in general is that it's pretty versatile. So I'm using chickpeas as a base because I love getting some added protein. So I have my bowl of chickpeas here. And then I personally like to dice things really small for this. So I'm going to add some cucumbers. So really do as much as you want. So I add my cucumbers, regular canned chickpeas. I always soak them and then I rinse them to take out any added sodium. So I did some tomatoes. I don't add too many tomatoes just because I find that it gets a little bit liquidy. And then I have a little bit of red onion. I don't add a lot of red onion just because I personally don't love red onion. A good method for red onion to take out some of that sharpness is to soak it in vinegar, which I did do for this a little bit. So again, it still has the flavor, but it's not as sharp. So I added some red onion in there. And then I'm going to add a little bit of dill. I'm going to add a little bit of feta cheese. And I'm just going to crumple a little bit. And I'm going to take a little bit of feta cheese. I don't do a ton because I don't want it to be too salty. But you can add as much or little as you want. You also don't need to add this. So I add my feta cheese in here. I'll do my dressing. It's not really much of a dressing. It's just some olive oil and lemon juice. You can add some salt and pepper if you want. I don't because there's already a ton of salt from the cheese. So I add some olive oil, some lemon juice, 1/2 of a lemon. I'm going to mix that so that it's nice like that. And then I did make some pita chips, and I'll just explain to you how I do that. Before I do my pita chips, I like to add a little bit of za'atar and sumac. So I really love sumac because it really doesn't have much of a flavor, but it adds like a nice color. And I like to add it on my salads just to give it a little bit of a color.
It's like a reddish, right?
Yeah, it's like a reddish and it's very mild in flavor, but I think it just is a nice for visual type of thing. And then I add a little bit of za'atar, and that's more for the taste and the flavor. I just add a bit, the mix of za'atar with the feta cheese. I think it goes really nicely. So that's what I do there. And then I have some pita chips. What I did is I just took some pita and I cut it up into cube sizes. And you're making almost just croutons. So I put in a 400-degree oven. I added some olive oil, any spices you want. I did paprika and garlic powder. And then they're just like a nice crunch salad. So I have 2 bowls of them. They look the same. But I'm really into obviously making sure that there's protein. And then I just love adding things for color and presentation. And so that's what I did the sumac for, and the za'atar just because it is a really good flavor with the cheese. And that's it. It's a chickpea Greek salad.